Part 45. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 460. The latest news from our station is that the city has recently been affected by the summer monsoon from the East China Sea, which will cause long-term rainfall. Citizens are asked to take precautions against heavy rains in advance. People on the East China Sea beach should always pay attention to the seafood falling from the sky, especially carp king. The storm in the East China Sea caused by Kuai Long forced the Elf Alliance to send a large number of elite trainers to the East China Sea to maintain the order of the weather. Although Kuai Long finally controlled the huge tsunami by himself, the aftermath may still affect the fishing villages or cities on the seaside. Cause certain impact. The most intuitive impact is that every family in the fishing village closes and opens their eyes. When they wake up the next day, the whole village is surrounded by the Carp King. In the news, as soon as the fisherman's house opened the door, several carp suddenly jumped out, almost confusing them all. However, what is interesting is that for the fishermen in the fishing village, instead of feeling angry, they even expressed full respect for the East China Sea. They believed that this was a sign from the god of the East China Sea, which heralded a bumper fishing harvest for the fishing village this year. Yang Yu felt something cold crawling slowly around him, and in an instant, it wrapped directly around his neck. Yang Yu's eyes suddenly opened. Ah! There's a snake. Yang Yu started shouting and jumping around in the room. The mini dragon that fell from Yang Yu's neck stretched its neck, poked its head, and looked at the dancing person in front of him with curiosity. Are you also learning the dance of the dragons? Yang Yu blinked. He glanced at the little dream monster lying there beside the bed with a confused look on his face, and the mini dragon on the bed with eyes like blue-purple gems. Cough cough cough. It turns out to be a mini dragon. That's okay. But having said that, the soft white belly of the mini dragon seems to be very comfortable to the touch. That's right. This mini dragon is the little guy Yang Yu brought back from the East China Sea Dragon Palace. There is one question that I don't know whether to talk about or not. Yang Yu never thought about catching mini dragons in the secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace. His goal at the beginning was just beautiful scales, but then, what happened was a bit unexpected. All in all, does this mini dragon count as a bonus? When Yang Yu was about to leave the Dragon Palace, the smallest mini dragon wrapped itself around his body and refused to let go. As for Yang Yu wanting to refuse, Kuai Long looked directly at him, and Yang Yudong didn't dare to move. Dare to try one? This was the Kuai Long that had performed the dragon dance 6 times, and it had just rampaged across the entire East China Sea. At such a terrifying speed, Yang Yu even thought that the Kuai Long was already on his grave before he even had time to carry it into the grave. It's fun. Maybe you can warm up by circling the earth before dancing? Dragon-type elves have their own wishes, and for Kuai Long, Yang Yu is indeed a very good trainer, even better than Xiazhepeng's conditions decades ago. Behind Dudu is Lao Huidi, behind Dream Demon is Gengui Lao He, and if Mini Dragon follows Yang Yu, there is Kuai Long as his father behind him, plus the shoulder-shaking dance in the Dragon Palace before. Kai Long is very willing to send his youngest daughter away. Maybe in the future, the young man in front of him could help him a lot. In this way, Yang Yu confusedly accepted a mini dragon as his elf. When he woke up, it was already too late. The mini dragon was already wrapped around him. What could he do? For a moment, Yang Yu even had a clear feeling of being arranged. On the surface, the trip to the top-secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace seemed like a huge profit, but why? Yang Yu felt like he was at a loss and was panicking. The beautiful scales are now hanging on the mini dragon's snow-white and slender neck. The crystal scale with blood-colored iridescence was when the mini dragon said goodbye to Kuai Long. Kuai Long connected it with a string of pearls and tied it with his own hands. For little ones to wear. This made Yang Yu feel very uncomfortable. Let the little fish use this beautiful scale to complete its final evolution? Or should the mini dragon keep the scale necklace with the mark of meanness? Confused, the mini dragon poked Yang Yu's hand with its soft nose. The cold touch made Yang Yu shiver immediately, and his mind immediately sobered up. It's over, it's over. There are a lot of children to raise at home. Who can raise this? Now Tajipai's elf egg hasn't hatched yet, but recently I feel that the crying inside the egg has become louder and louder. I really don't know what kind of terrible scene it will be if Tajipai hatches. After all, the crying inside the egg is louder and louder. So Xiang still hasn't broken out of his shell. After breaking out of his shell, Yang Yuneokyo felt a little pain. He wants to find a quiet place, go and find Dede and Xiaoxiao. At this time, in the hotel room where Yang Yu was staying, the little dream demon and the mini dragon blinked at each other. The little dream demon had just woken up, and his eyes had not been polished yet. For this new mini dragon, the little dream demon thought of the terrifying power of Kuai Long, and Ying 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 no longer dared to think of bullying it. Moreover, after the hard work of raising the baby, it was more or less interested in the new friends in the future of resistance. But the eyes of the little dream demon were full of admiration. She looked at the snow-white smooth and slender neck of the mini dragon. Hey, 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 it's really beautiful. The little dream demon lowered his head. It was so pitiful that he couldn't even see his own neck, only a circle of blood-red hanging fear orbs. I really want to hold it and take a breath. Yang Yu now cared more about Xiao Xiao. Maybe evolution is really just around the corner, but the little fish didn't choose to bite that beautiful scale in the end. Such a choice made Yang Yu feel moved and distressed at the same time. There was a lump in his throat, something he couldn't describe. A feeling of huji. At this time, the little fish was sitting in a dull golden conch hat, basking in the warm sun by the window. Xiao Xiao raised his head and found Yang Yu approaching. Bang! The little fish jumped up from the conch cap with some joy, splashing a little water. Xiao Xiao, I'm sorry, I still can't let you complete the final evolution. Huji. Xiao Xiao opened his eyes and looked at his master Yang Yu in confusion. Why say sorry? It was the one who didn't choose to bite those beautiful scales in the first place. But even if there is no evolution, that should be a good thing. The little fish jumped up, and this time, it jumped into Yang Yu's hand. Don't be sad. Would you like a kiss? Xiao Xiao clicked Yang Yu's thumb in Yang Yu's hand. That beautiful scale records the beautiful legend of Minas and Kuai Long. Not for its little fish. What the little fish wants. It's your own legend. A beautiful legend that belongs to Xiao Xiao. Asking for votes. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 461. The news that Yang Yu obtained a mini-dragon from the top-secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace spread among the Elf University, but it seemed that all the players who had participated in the national competition showed a very dull reaction to the news, as if this is a matter of course. After all, there is no dispute about Yang Yu's strength. However, they didn't know the process of Yang Yu obtaining the mini-dragon, let alone what happened in the Dragon Palace. Probably only Yang Yu himself knows. After returning from the secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace, Yang Yu still lived near the East China Sea. Although due to some factors, there are relatively large winds and waves on the East China Sea, it must be said that it is precisely because of such suitable winds and waves that Yang Yu can gradually adapt to the wind and waves. Pay attention to the direction of the wind. If you travel far in the sea, don't ignore the influence of the sea breeze. The World Masters Invitational Tournament starts on the World Island, the center of the Pacific Ocean. It is now the summer season. You are likely to encounter obstacles along the way. To the heavy rain at sea. Uncle Chang Hai was on the back of Cheng Long, following Yang Yu to fight the wind and waves on the sea, and at the same time imparting his experience on the sea. Don't underestimate the sea just because there are powerful water elves. Sometimes, the dangers of the sea are far beyond your imagination. Yang Yu opened his eyes with difficulty, letting the rain hit him. His vision was blurry and it was difficult to see clearly the scene on the sea. Moreover, the inevitable shaking of the salted fish king in the waves also affected the compass in Yang Yu's hand. The impact makes it almost impossible to determine the correct orientation. You must trust your own elves. When people go to the sea, the elves are their only support. Sometimes, they can sense the crisis from the depths of the sea in advance. Don't be willful. Chang Haiu stood up, raised his head, and watched the rain falling in the sky become smaller and smaller. At the same time, the fluctuations of the waves on the sea also became smaller, which also meant that the rain lasted for nearly 3 hours. The training is coming to an end. Call. Yang Yu felt a little exhausted. At this moment, he could finally find a comfortable position to sit down behind the salted fish king. Yeah. During this training, Yang Yu warned Dada in advance that he did not need to help him. He must learn the basic ability to resist wind and rain in the sea, control the salted fish king in the sea, and move towards the center of the world with the elves. An incredible trip. It has always been Yang Yu's dream. The world is so big, of course you should go see it. Once in a simulator game, I controlled a water elf to surf on the sea, and followed the game characters in the elf world to unlock one plot after another. Now, this dream that only exists in dreams can finally come true. During Zhiye's sea journey, the elf he controlled was a dragon, while during Yang Yu's sea journey, the elf he controlled was the powerful salted fish king. Along the way, there were Dude, a little Burmese, a little dream monster, a little fish, and a new friend, the mini dragon. Oh, and there was also a Tijipai elf who was about to go to sea before breaking out of his shell. Egg. This kind of overseas lineup can be said to be very luxurious. However, since we are talking about going to sea, we don't know where Gyarados and the Magi Carp team in Meteor Lake are now, what kind of adventures they will encounter in the sea, and what kind of dangers they will encounter. Everything is still a mystery. Every time you move, you fight again, and every time you move, you fight again. There was a rhythmic sound in the room. Through the crack of the slightly closed door, you can vaguely see a blue and white slender figure, who is currently on the glass coffee table, twisting his soft waist up and down, left and right. Next to the blue and white mini dragon, there is a gray-black little dream demon, which seems to be holding back all its energy and trying hard to keep up with the beat of the music, but it just can't shake fast. This mini dragon seemed to be a born dancer. It even stood upright like a swan dance on the coffee table stage, which made the little dream demon stunned. This is amazing. When Yang Yu came back and opened the door, he heard the rhythmic music in the room, and his whole body began to shake. The mini dragon's dazed blue-purple eyes lit up, as if it had found a dance king who could dance with it. 3 circles on the left, 3 circles on the right. The neck is twisted, the butt is twisted. The mini dragon began to twist excitedly, and it still performed such a magical dance, which made the little dream demon dance involuntarily again. However, as it danced, the little dream demon's mouth started to pout again. Angry. Ying ying ying. Bullying the little dream monster is too much. Bullying the little dream demon again for not having a neck. The mini dragon has such a soft waist. After evolving into a hack dragon, there is a blue mysterious orb on the chest that can control the power of the weather. There are also 2 on the tail. Based on the smooth and soft body of the mini dragon, it adds a sense of nobility. Elegant temperament, but because of this, the final dragon form left trainers all over the world speechless. Although Kuai Long is very powerful. But that figure. If you talk too much, it's all tears. Yang Yu looked at the clumsy little dream demon and quickly figured out the reason. As a ghost-type elf, the dream demon has a big head, a small body, and short legs and hands. It's very cute, but it also makes the little dream monster's neck shorter. In this case. Then the ghost dance starts. There was no shaking of the shoulders, no twisting of the neck and butt, just the ghostly steps of the feet. The little dream demon's eyes are getting brighter and brighter. This is the dance suitable for the little dream demon. The little dream demon has learned to record it and pass it to the master. Let master also study hard. Master Gengui has become so fat that he can't even enter the internal network channel of the internet. Yang Yu estimated the next time. The World Masters Invitational Tournament will start on July 20th if he departs from the East China Sea and goes to the World Island almost a month in advance. Such a journey will not appear to be in a hurry. Boring. However, I still need to wait for someone. Since this is the first time for Yang Yu to participate in the World Masters Invitational Tournament and the first time to go to the World Island, the Elf Alliance hopes that Yang Yu will choose a player who has been to the World Island to travel with him. Yang Yu did not reject the Elf Alliance's request. At this time, he glanced at the time. He had already sent out an invitation to go to the center island of the world in advance. According to the time agreement, that person would come to the East China Sea soon. Hold head high. A high-pitched bird song came from the sky. Junior brother Han. Senior brother Jian is here. Wu Yuqian's energetic voice announced his arrival above the East China Sea. Yang Yu looked happy. Senior brother Jian, this month, I've been relying on your moo milk and hoo tree fruit juice. Keep asking for votes. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 462. Yang Yu, I know a few trainers who raise mini dragons, but I have never seen one with such a mini dragon. You didn't learn the ancestral snake dance from Yin Island, right? Wu Yuqian almost spit out the moo milk he was drinking. This early in the morning, I didn't sleep well and had to get up to do morning exercises. It's okay to do morning exercises, but here's the problem. Why do Yang Yu and his elves look so magical? Shake, shake left, shake right. It doesn't matter if people are abnormal, even the elves are becoming abnormal. Especially that mini dragon. What about your dignity as a dragon? How come you can dance like an arbor snake with a little beat and a little music? If Yang Yu was given a whole cucurbit and a bamboo urn for the mini dragon, he would probably be able to perform on the streets. Brother Wu, come together. Exercise. Naturally, Yang Yu did not exercise here for no reason. In the secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace, Kuai Long has demonstrated through actions the conditions that make it easier to perform the move dragon dance. Since there is an easier way, why not do it? Wu Yuqian felt it was very magical. Looking at Yang Yu's movements, he also trembled a few times. Seeing the giant Gyarados in the sea, the salty fish king, and the other smaller Gyarados, baby Gyarados, swaying to the rhythm, Wu Yuqian felt a little confused. What was he doing? Could he just be dancing? Can Gyarados master the dance of the dragon? Senior brother Jian, this is King Yun's unique secret book. Please do not spread it out. This is for mini dragon and little Bao Bao to learn the ability of dragon dance. At the same time, it is for Salted Fish King to improve the speed of dragon dance, Yang Yu said in a low voice. Wu Yuqian took a step back in confusion. Junior brother Han, I don't study well, don't lie to me. Can these little elves learn the dragon dance with just one dance? Why don't you go up to the sky and stand side by side with the sun when you are so awesome? Of course Wu Yuqian didn't know that Kuai Long, the lord of the dragon palace, who discovered this secret and put it into practice, actually went up to the sky and stood side by side with the sun. Senior brother Jian, am I still going to lie to you? Whether I can master dragon dance is another question, but this is indeed one of the ways to get a first glimpse of the door. Yang Yu looked very serious. To be honest, if these words had not come from Yang Yu's mouth, Wu Yuqian would have even thought that he had met a magic stick, King Yun's magic stick. However, how could this be possible? Just think of it as exercise. Even if the elves can't master the dance of the dragon, what's the matter? Just be happy and that's it. Yang Yu danced very hard. Just like singing and wagging tails in the past, now there is finally a chance to teach the dragon dance with awesome moves. Of course Yang Yu must perform well and save his image in front of his own elves. After all, I once sang that way. Crying, even if I talk too much, I will shed tears. As for the dragon type, electric dragon, why don't you come out and give it a try? Not long after, Wu Yuqian summoned all the elves, and even Hu, who was still in ZZZ, looked confused and began to tremble involuntarily. Who am I, where am I, what am I doing now? Shake and that's it? This is a very good day to go out to sea. After warming up in the morning and stretching out the muscles and bones, it is estimated that if you want to be able to move so freely during the rest of the sea trip, you will have to at least go to land. It's almost a month's travel time if we set off so early. Hey, Yang Yu, do you have any plans? Wu Yuqian asked. Yang Yu replied with a smile, the magnificent sea, such a good opportunity, of course I have to go and see it. This kind of trip is the dream of all trainers. Wu Yuqian nodded and looked towards the end of the horizon. Yes, if you want to become a trainer standing on the top of the mountain, you still need to walk a long way, including mountains, seas, and glaciers. The more roads we travel, the more understanding and respect we have for the elven world. Yang Yushin thought so. I have seen the mysterious and beautiful top-secret realm of the Dragon Palace of the East China Sea, the incredibly beautiful scales, and the beautiful phantom of Minas in the aurora under the sea. The real world of elves has always attracted Yang Yu's curiosity. Everything is ready, Yang Yu, where are your luggage? Before leaving, Wu Yuqian asked a few more questions. Stay. Yeah. Dede stood up immediately with the Tajipai elf egg incubator in his arms. Show Brother Qian what we have prepared for this departure. Yang Yu said with a smile. I saw Dada put down the egg incubator first, and then slowly took off his golden conch cap and touched it with his hands. Dang dang dang. Portable assembled travel tent. What else? Dada reached out and touched it again. Hey, I found it. I also have the supersonic bat sunglasses I bought during the Halloween Ghost Festival. When the sun is strong, I can take them out and use them. In the secret realm of the East China Sea Dragon Palace, in addition to harvesting many dragons and other Dragon Palace treasures, there is also an ability that makes Yang Yu feel very kind. That is the ability to store items stupidly. Super-type elves and ghost-type elves both have a secret power to open up a similar different dimensional space. During the time when Lao Huidi was super-evolving in Meteor Lake, Jengar Laohe had such powerful spatial abilities that he could take Lao Huidi into the ghost space he created, and even take out a ghost from his mouth. The Slow King of the Super Tower. The Little Dream Demon's ghost notebook and ghost pen, as well as its devil calculator, can be stored in a small space and can be carried around without taking up other space, which is very convenient. Dede's ability allows him to store items and props in his golden conch cap. At first, the golden conch cap himself refused, but when Dede put all the treasures taken out of the Dragon Palace into the golden conch cap when so delicious. This made the golden conch hat very happy. It has been jealous of those treasures for a long time. It turns out that the place where King Slowpoke stores his props is his golden hat. Wu Yuqian's eyes lit up, the ability of the super elf is indeed magical. The place where my dream-inducing taper stores his props. It's the hypnotic ring in his hand. Before Wu Yuqian finished speaking, the dream-inducing taper appeared next to him and flicked the hypnotic ring in his hand. Soon, A folded tent also appeared in the open space. Why are you praising the super elf? The little dream monsters of the ghost type are also very powerful and easy to kill. The little dream demon pouted and touched the blood-red fear orb on his chest. The super killing weapon of fear. Devil's calculator. Yes, yes, the little dream monster's ability is also very magical. Our little dream monster is the best. Yang Yu's expression changed slightly, and he quickly started praising him. Yes, yes, yes. Wu Yuqian nodded quickly. They don't want to hear about Return to Zero. Our own people. Ying ying ying. Guess you know each other. Snort. Daily seeking votes. Pokemon's character master. Author, AI Ren Huo Chiang Shao. Chapter 463. Aha. Aha. The mini-dragon was wrapped around Yang Yu's neck, blowing the sea breeze, basking in the sun, and excitedly making happy screams toward the sky. There are many long-winged gulls flying around in the sky, as if they have discovered new toys, flying around the tall and big salted fish king. Some long-winged gulls even find ways to stay on the plywood, which can be regarded as salty fish. When the fish king opened his ferocious mouth and suddenly turned his head to look at them. Run! The long-winged gull that flew into the air did not forget to drag its confused partner to run with it. Although the flight was very unstable, it could still fly a long distance. The little dream demon clutched her belly and rolled in laughter in the nest of Yang Yu's hair. She even didn't forget to pat Yang Yu's hair twice. The mini-dragon blinked with very confused eyes. What happened that was so funny? Yang Yu leaned lazily on the fins behind the salted fish king, wearing sunglasses, basking in the sun, and even put a few cucumber slices on his face. Beauty can't stop. Yang Yu, come on, take a few. Wu Yuqian, who was sitting behind Yang Yu, immediately waved after seeing the beauty artifact prepared by Yang Yu. The solar radiation on the sea will definitely cause some trouble for this trip. Although Yang Yu rarely cares about his appearance, he is still a normal person when he doesn't want to go, and his face is tanned when he comes back. That kind of thing, I guess if I exaggerated, I might assimilate with the little dream monster. Here, there's sunscreen pearl cream. Yang Yu also prepared another hand. The sun in the Pacific Ocean is very hot, so you have to protect your face. Wu Yuqian glanced at Yang Yu a few times with a poisonous look. With that resentful look, heaven and man were fighting for a while, probably thinking about whether to get some sunscreen or something. A grown man wears a lot of sunscreen. But seeing Yang Yu enjoying it so much. Now that I've taken cucumber slices and put on some sunscreen, it doesn't seem unacceptable. Just don't do one thing and never stop doing the other thing. It didn't take long. Behind the salted fish king there is another person basking in the sun with cucumber slices on his fins. Ah, I never thought there was such a good thing. Yang Yu, you are so well prepared, Wu Yuqian couldn't help but sigh. Yang Yu thought silently for a while. Not only did he prepare sunscreen and cucumber slices, he even prepared a month-sea nutrition guarantee. However, the source of nutritional guarantee is senior brother Wu Yuqian. Yang Yu, what does it feel like to have a mini-dragon wrapped around your neck? Wu Yuqian asked curiously. Anyway, it's very comfortable. In this summer, the mini-dragon is like a natural cooling zone, soft and smooth. Yang Yu stretched out his hand and gently poked the mini-dragon's white belly. There seemed to be something in front of his eyes. Something black shadow floated by, and when I looked up suddenly, I found that the little dream demon was now playing on the head of the mini-dragon. Wu Yuqian rolled his eyes. As junior brother Han, he always felt that the purpose of raising elves was not to become stronger, but simply to have fun, and the cultivation method was also incredible. It was okay to let the mini-dragon sway along with it before, but now. You actually let the mini-dragon do such a thing? Suddenly Wu Yuqian felt so envious. Give me one too. The mini dragon is so soft that it feels as cold and tender as water all over the body. A mini dragon scarf like this makes Yang Yu never thought that it could have such an incredible effect. In the hot summer, with mini dragon here, wouldn't it be necessary to turn on the air conditioner? Mum. After all, the mini dragon is just a small elf. Even a powerful dragon elf requires a huge amount of energy to maintain its growth. Coupled with the previous intense dancing exercise, the mini dragon's head is now drooping feebly down. Some eyes that were unable to open, and the big white nose, the mini dragon hanging from Yang Yu's neck, sniffed Yang Yu's chest. This is the smell, I still have to have this familiar smell when I wake up. Smell. Mum. The mini dragon closed its eyes and began to rest. When the little dream demon saw the mini dragon resting, he stopped making trouble and obediently found a place and lay down on Yang Yu's chest. It's cool and safe here. There is no problem with the mini dragon and the little dream monster, but there is a problem with Yang Yu. If you two little guys just rest like this, then I can't even change my posture? The mini dragon hangs around Yang Yu's neck. The belly is so smooth. What if one accidentally slips into the sea? Dumb. Dumb. Come to the rescue. Dada felt Yang Yu's gaze, and soon, while holding the egg incubator, he helped Yang Yu find a more comfortable position, so that he could avoid being unable to move. Wu Yuqin looked at Yang Yu, who was full of little elves, smiled and shook his head, crossed his legs, looked up at the cloudless blue sky, and recalled the scene when he raised little Bobo and Huhu. Right now, they have all grown up. But the beautiful memories will never change. Woo 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 woo. Yeah. He lowered his head blankly and opened his big mouth happily, as if the little things in the incubator were moving. Although there was still that kind of incessant crying, but it looks like we are not far away from breaking the shell. Only. Duday secretly glanced in the direction of Yang Yu, looking at the place where the mini dragon and the little dream demon lay in Yang Yu's arms, scratched the back of his head, and began to calculate the location in his mind. If Tijipai breaks out of his shell, will there be room for Tijipai in Yang Yu's arms? There should be, right? He looked down at the elf egg in his arms blankly, with a naive smile on his face. He thought of Teacher Hootie's wooden house, and didn't know what was happening to the little natural bird that jumped up to the sky. Ho ho! Kloo, klook, klook. Kaloo. On an unknown island in the Pacific Ocean. A huge wind and wave caused a heavy rain of red carp to fall on this small island. After the wind and waves passed, there was a sound that seemed to be calling for a gathering, and all the magi carp on the island began to splash and jump, jumping and jumping towards the direction of the sound. On the small island, a few native elves in the woods were shivering on the big trees, looking at the endless group of carp kings on the ground that were jumping around like unfeeling zombies. They came from the island. In all directions, but the final destination is the same place. There is their captain. The scary thing is here, these Magikarps hopping. It is actually rhythmic and disciplined, and the height of each jump is almost the same, and the length of each jump is almost exactly the same. The landing point of the next Magikarp after jumping is exactly where the previous Magikarp jumped, and every time one jump can make a very loud pop sound on the island. Like the army assembles. No matter how strong the wind and waves were, they dispersed the formation of the Carp King army, but they still could not dispel the desire of this Carp King army to attack. On the edge of the island. At this time, 3 Gyarados were waiting quietly, and the one at the front. His body was covered in scars, and he could even see blood flowing. There is even a large gaping hole on its head and left eye. The wound has completely blinded its left eye. However, it is precisely because of this heroic scar that all the Magikarp Kings unite as one. It is the flow of blood that can awaken the anger of the entire Magikarp army. At the most critical moment, 2 Magikarp in the team jumped up and completed the incredible leap of fish through the Dragon Gate, evolution. Rush to the sea. It is a test of blood and battle in itself. Once, in Meteor Lake, they and the king have a mutual agreement. Bring the Magi Carp Kings back alive. Although the hard scales on the body are broken. Ho ho ho. Cluck K. Cluck K. The armor is still there. Please vote. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 464. 1 month is plenty of time, and given the purpose of traveling, the Salted Fish King's travel speed is not too fast. Ho ho ho. Little Bayo Bayo is not far away in the sea, patrolling around like a guard. However, it is not far from the coast now and there will be no danger, but little Bayo Bayo is still exploring carefully under the water. Huji. Roar. The Salted Fish King slows down so that the little fish can easily keep up. The scales on the little fish's body have been transforming into golden scales, but the size has not increased. The little fish is drinking moo milk hard and eating energy cubes that enhance its beauty, but its body shape is still very normal. Think back to the beginning. When the little fish first saw the Salted Fish King, it was the largest of all the Carp King at that time. When it jumped out of the glass container, it even fell into the Salted Fish King's mouth. I thought that as long as I worked hard, I could become as powerful and majestic as the Salted Fish King. Now that I think about it, it seems it's a bit difficult. The size of the little fish just hasn't grown. It seems that all the nutrients he usually consumes are put into the big project of improving the luster of the scales on the little fish. With the good foundation laid by moo milk, the consumption of energy cubes is accelerating this process. The project comes to town. Huja Huji. The little fish is calling to the Salted Fish King da 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 in the sea. By the way, it uses the shining golden scales on its body to reflect the sunlight shining down. The Salted Fish King's beard moved slightly, and his huge head saw this little golden thing flashing on the water. Roar. The Salted Fish King turned sideways and changed positions with Xiao Xiao. When the sun shone on the bright blue scales all over his body, the Salted Fish King deliberately showed off the big shiny white teeth at the corner of his mouth. He raised his eyebrows proudly. Little thing, you actually compare with me in beauty? It has to be said that after being baptized by thunder, the scales on the Salty Fish King seem to have a spiritual bright blue color, which is unmatched by any other Gyarados. The scales of the Salted Fish King seem to add a mysterious and vibrant charm. If you look carefully, you can even vaguely see a layer of faint white clouds among the crystal bright blue scales. Xiao Xiao's expression suddenly became dull. Watch the Salted Fish King in the sun. Ha ha ha, ha ha, so beautiful. From Xiao Xiao's point of view, he looked up deeply at the tall Salted Fish King. While he was envious in his heart, he also made a heavy determination. When I was in the Dragon Palace, the Salted Fish King has never seen what it looks like after it evolves. Huja Huji. The little fish must work hard, and when the time comes, the Salty Fish King will be shocked. Little fish, believe in yourself. The beauty contest between Xianyu King and Xiao Xiao would naturally not be discovered by Yang Yu. At this time, Xianyu King's route was relatively close to the coastline of eastern Fujian. From overseas, many fishing boats could be seen. We are heading back, and there are also some tourist boats. Young man, what kind of boat is this? A boatman's voice shouted loudly on the boat. This is my boat, the Salted Fish King. Yang Yu patted the Salted Fish King on the neck, smiled and replied loudly in the direction of the boatman. Awesome, awesome. The boatman who was driving the boat at a close distance quickly asked someone to take out his mobile phone, gestured, and clicked to take a photo with the Salted Fish King. Obviously, since the Salted Fish King has trainer Yang Yu behind him, naturally, these boatmen don't have to worry. The strength of a trainer who can sail freely on the sea is also extraordinary. Hey, this is so enviable. If we also had a Gyarados, it would be so majestic, The boatman happily looked at the group photo taken by the crew, and then turned to Yang Yu's direction. He gave a thumbs up and watched the giant sea beast disappear from sight. Yang Yu, let's stop temporarily at the lighthouse today. That's the port in southern Fujian. After floating on the sea for so long, go to the trainer camp there to replenish supplies. It just so happens that there is me in the trainer camp in southern Fujian. An old acquaintance. Wu Yuqian was more familiar with this area than Yang Yu, so Yang Yu naturally had no problems. The previous trip along the coastline was actually a process of adaptation. The route continued southward until it reached the South China Sea area and exited the South China Sea. At that time, Yang Yu and Wu Yuqian had to rely on themselves on the road. Monkey son, are you here?" Wu Yuqian shouted outside the camp. I asked why it was so windy outside today. It turns out that this gust of wind brought Mr. Yumin to my place. In Yang Yu's somewhat surprised gaze, at the port camp, an elf with blazing flames in his hair seemed to light up the camp with a blazing light. He stared down at the highest point of the wooden pile. At the same time, the wooden pile from a large tent under the pile, a figure quickly walked out. "Hey, brother Wu Yuquang, rare guest, this is..." Sun Shanwei's eyes fell on Yang Yu. "The individual champion of this year's national competition is Yang Yu," Wu Yuqian introduced. "Yang Yu, this is the old acquaintance I mentioned before. He is now the owner of the camp here, Sun Shanwei. Once you get familiar with him, just call him Sun Hao or Hao," Wu Yuqian said to Yang Yu again. When Sun Shanwei heard that Yang Yu was actually the champion of this year's national college individual competition, his eyes brightened up again in the dark night. Welcome. The champion of this year's competition, amazing. By the way, look at my memory, come with me to the big tent first, it's air-conditioned inside, so it's cool. Brother Monkey, eat something first, there will be an elf battle later. Oka. The elf on the wooden pile jumped down and landed firmly on the ground with a bang. It was at this time that Yang Yu saw the complete picture of this little elf, the final evolved form of the little fire monkey, the flaming monkey. Yang Yu didn't expect that after entering the tent was actually very big. There was even a battlefield in the middle. At this time, a fierce battle between elves was happening in the venue. There is a professional term to describe it, that is battle tent. Brother Sunday is the owner of this battle tent. This is the port trainer camp. Apart from us, there are trainers who are traveling all the time. There are many such large camps across the country, so, there are so many trainers from all over the country gathered to fight against elves. This is also the main activity of this kind of big camp, Wu Yuqian explained to Yang Yu with a smile. I met Monkey Sun here when I was traveling the year before last. Now, he should be the owner of this battle tent. Come on, let's start with some of the special features of the camp. The big seafood is still being cooked. There are brother mines and this brother Yang Yu. They are in such a hurry and they don't entertain them well. Sun Shanwei he said in person. A large pot of hot seafood was brought up, placed on a large shelf, and a firewood was lit underneath. I have to go up and fight an elf battle later. You guys eat first. When I'm done fighting, I'll come with you. Okay, Monkey Son, you go and do your work first. Wu Yuqian smiled and waved his hand. Yang Yu also nodded gratefully. Yang Yu looked at the hot pot in front of him and couldn't help but touch Gugugu's hungry belly. However, when he smelled the smell emanating from the pot, he almost died. This taste is too strong, right? Dumb. Come to the rescue. Yeah. When Slowpoke smelled the smell of seafood, he couldn't help but wipe the saliva from the corner of his mouth. Such pure fish, well, when he was still a Slowpoke, it was the kind of food he wanted to eat in his dreams. However, Yang Yu wants to eat another kind of fish that is more delicious. Yeah. The golden conch cap flashed with golden light. pot, spatula, all at hand at the same time. Leave it to Dede. Continue. Please vote. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 465. This is a very good location. Not only can you see the battle situation in the battlefield, but relatively speaking, the personnel do not move around frequently. If Yang Yu and Wu had the money and peace of mind to have a meal here, watch the game, etc., they would almost no one will bother you. However, where Yang Yu is, even in an inconspicuous corner, it can still attract huge attention. Of course, it seems, it's still a brewing stage. Order food, order food, order food, Brother Wu, what kind of seafood do you want to eat? There seems to be fried squid in sauce, pickled fish fillet, and by the way, there is also seasoning for hot pot fish. When Yang Yu took out various condiments from his backpack, Wu Yuqian felt a little out of his wits for a moment. Junior brother Han was really well prepared. Not only did he prepare external sunscreen, he even prepared food condiments. Everything is clearly arranged. You, do whatever you want, I'll just watch. Wu Yuqian had eaten the simplest seafood here several times before. In fact, it was okay to eat it like this. However, when he saw Yang Yu's dumb king taking out the pot and spatula, it doesn't smell good anymore, nothing smells good anymore. When he was playing team competition in the Meteor Forest, Wu Yuqian followed Yang Yu to experience the fairy-like life in the forest, the roasted lamb chops that night, and the clear and mellow noodle soup. Junior brother Han, be sure to let your dumb king continue, I will quietly watch you show off your skills. Dong dong jiang. Just like hitting the gong 3 times in a pot, I started to stir fry. At the same time, on the field, Sun Shanwei brought his flame monkey to the center of the battle area. The person who wanted to fight Sun Shanwei was a trainer named Chen Teng from the southern Xinjiang region. He won 3 games in a row in the camp and qualified for a fight. Come on. Come on. Monkey Sun, come on. Come on Chen Teng. It was just when the venue was bustling with activity that I picked up the oil bottle and added a little oil to the pot. I paused, thought for a moment, and then added a little more oil. Chen Teng, versus Sun Shanwei, Lei Qiu, versus the Flame Monkey, let's begin. Just when the tent referee blew his whistle, there was a stab sound from the corner. The oil is already hot. When the squids enter the hot oil pan, the sound of the oil splashing is like cheering for the battle in the field. Stab. Stab. The sound of hot oil splashing and exploding was so loud at this time. Thunder Chu, move at high speed. Fire Monkey, use the flame wheel to increase your speed. Reishu's figure spread out and ran rapidly in the field. The high-speed moving Reishu was not affected by his own weight at all. The electric light flashing on his cheeks was ready to go. The blazing monkey has a lot of experience in fighting. At this time, he stood quietly in the center of the field, his eyes that seemed to be able to see through, just like the scene when he appeared on the wooden pile, carefully observing the movements around him. At the same time, the flame wheel is coming. The spatula in Dudu's hand sped up, crunch, rub, rub, rub. Stir-frying the squid requires not only the speed of the hand, but also the application of a higher temperature flame during the stir-frying process. The flame wheel looks like a suitable move for cooking. Although Dede can't use the flame wheel, he can use his superpower to guide the flames in the pit. While secretly watching the battle between elves in the field, he learns how the flame wheel unfolds, and at the same time, he applies flames to the bottom of the pot. Stir-fry over high heat. Wu Yuqian was watching the battle between elves, when a flame wheel suddenly appeared in front of his eyes. He almost thought that his hair was going to be burned. Just when he was worried about being bald at such a young age, he discovered that this flame was cooking in front of him. Looks familiar to the thief. Damn it, isn't this the one just now, the flame monkey's flame wheel? Wu Yuqian looked left and right, back and forth. Was this simulating an elf battle? But the question, why should the simulated elf battle be simulated while cooking? Don't ask. If you ask, you're just being awesome. In the field, Lei Qiu used a flash of lightning to distance himself from the blazing monkey. At this moment, a strong electric light was activated at the same time, hitting the blazing monkey directly. The figure of the blazing monkey finally moved. When it moved, it was like an overwhelming, scorching flame, intersecting with the electric light in the air. At this moment, huge energy exploded brilliantly in the battlefield. Boom! The moment the fried squid came out of the pot, the second dish was added to Dayday's pot. The sudden hot flame made the crab roe explode. While Dayday controlled his superpower, everything simmered safely in the end. In the pot, this is the essence of crab. Thunder chews 100,000 volts. It has such strong penetrating power, and the flame monkey's flames are somewhat irresistible. The instantaneous destructive power of fire-based moves is still relatively weaker than that of electricity. The penetration of electric-based moves, look, the blazing monkey has dodged. This is, prepare to get close. Is the flame monkey's fighting ability going to attack Reishu? In the venue, the heat of the flames completely ignited the atmosphere in the tent, and at the same time, it also became a bit sultry. The flashing shadow of Lei Qiu was always avoiding the strong close attack of the blazing monkey. It's useless, Sonic Fist. Sun Shanwei smiled and shook his head. This Reishu performed well. In terms of understanding and proficiency of electric moves, it was already very good, but in close combat, on the other hand, once the flame monkey seizes the opportunity, there's no way to dodge. Don't forget that the speed of the flame monkey itself gives the flame monkey the ability to be as fast as the wind and as aggressive as fire. When this ability is brought to its extreme in a battle. So what if it's moving at high speed? Lei Qiu can never withstand the fierce attack of the blazing monkey. Lei Qiu, Thunder Fist. At the most critical moment, Chen Teng finally used all the cards in his hand. Is he really his Reishu? Doesn't he have any advantage in close combat? Sonic Punch. Quick, so what? Thunder Fist. Lei Qiu raised his fist, gathering powerful electric power with all his strength, and poured it into his right fist. The moment he swung it out, he brought the thunderous lightning towards the incoming flame monkey. Go! Sonic Fist, change, infuse anger, flames are coming. Sun Shanwei's expression changed slightly, but he was not without a strategy to deal with it. In the battle between elves, he had to adapt to the situation, and the flaming monkey's boxing skills were very treacherous. Change. Frontal bombardment, imminent. Dayday finally raised its little fist. Da-da-da-da. Tap the crab shell rhythmically, and use the infused superpower to make the meat inside become more delicious. Boom. The figures of Lei Qiu and Blazing Monkey intertwined, and both of them quickly retreated towards the rear. All the trainers around were watching the final battle with their thoughts and nervousness. Is Reishu's Thunder Fist more powerful, or the Flame Monkey's Flame Fist more terrifying? Mound. The moment Lei Qiu fell, the Flame Monkey was also seriously injured. Amid the injuries, the Flame Monkey's fire characteristics suddenly triggered, igniting an astonishing blazing flame on his head. Yeah. The big dull eyes suddenly blinked. He seems to have found a place where stir-frying can be done faster. That. Brother Flame Monkey, can you lend me a fire? Sizzle. An exciting fragrance began to fill the venue. That stupid king, what is he doing? Asking for votes every day. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 466. When the dust settled, The trainers were supposed to be cheering for the flame monkey's victory on the battlefield, but they never expected that a chubby pink elf suddenly appeared with a golden blind dog's eye on his head. Conch cap, actually. Sizzle. A pot and a spatula. On the flaming monkey head, stir fry, stir fry. Flame monkey. Doo-doo. Dada used the prepared chopsticks to pick out a small piece of fresh crab meat infused with crab roe flavor. It was filled with a strong fragrance and put it into the mouth of the flaming monkey. The blazing monkey chewed it subconsciously. Those slightly dazed eyes, the moment the taste buds came into contact with the gilt crab roe, the pores all over the body couldn't help but become clear. Acha! What kind of unique delicacy is this? Instead of being angry, the blazing monkey gave a dumb thumbs up at this moment. Hey, that's good. Yeah. Grinning blankly, blazing monkey's praise was undoubtedly an affirmation of his dish. Brother Flame Monkey, please lower the heat a little and let the pot simmer. Acha. The flaming monkey smiled happily, and the blazing fire that burned due to the characteristics of fierce fire slowly became smaller and smaller under the calmness. Sun Shanwei. Chen Tang. Everything that happened on the battlefield completely confused these traveling trainers. What the hell was doing? This slow king actually used the flames lit on the flaming monkey's head to cook food? Why is the hat on the head of this slow king golden? Why is there a slow king here? Why? A series of reasons made these trainers' thoughts become like stuck machines, unable to turn. Until Sun Shanwei asked subconsciously, whose dumb king is this? Yes. Whose stupid king is this? Why didn't they think of this problem? The trainers in the audience were all confused by the scene in front of them, and they had not discovered the most essential problem. The question now is not why the hat of this slow king is golden. But whose slow king is this? Whose slow king is this? The most essential question arises naturally. The answer to this question is very easy to explain. When Dada was carrying a pot and a spatula, running towards Yang Yu and Wu Yuqin's position, a refreshing fragrance, following the pot in Dudu's hand, began to spread all over the map. Chiliu. Oh my god. This smells so good. Is this really for human consumption? It's clearly food that only gods can eat. When Dede came to Yang Yu and Wu Yuqin, let alone others, even Yang Yu was a little out of his mind. Such an excellent operation can probably only be done by Dudu, right? Do you still remember the last air battle in Meteor Lake? Not only did the dull charging of the energy gathering ring not make Reishu feel angry, it even felt very exciting. The feeling of full electric energy made the power exerted by Reishu's thunder even more terrifying. Now, also the same. Even though he suddenly borrowed the flames from the flame monkey was not angry. He even gave a thumbs up in gratitude after tasting the delicacies that Dudu made. I have never tasted such delicious food in my life. There's brother mine, and there's brother Yang Yu. Sun Shanwei saw that this time it was Yang Yu and Wu Yuqin who stole the limelight of the entire battle tent. This was nothing to Sun Shanwei, but the problem was, what on earth did Dede Wang stir up, and why is it so fragrant? You know, in this port trainer camp, the most common food is a big pot of seafood. Sun Shanwei is already used to eating it, just like a daily meal. But now, in that pot of King Dada, it was as if there was some naughty smell that kept arousing the greed in Sun Shanwei's stomach. As for being robbed of the limelight, that was nothing. Just by smelling it, you can tell that the smell is not ordinary. Brother Sun, come on, let's eat together, Yang Yu hurriedly waved, so many people were staring at him as he came to serve the food. It was really embarrassing. Yeah. Dede also invited the blazing monkey to come over. Dude, lend me a fire. Treat you to a meal. Boss son, boss son, boss son, can you bring me one? Oh my god, what did I eat tonight? It's tasteless. Oh my god, I feel like I'm dying. I thought the seafood I ate today was good and fresh enough, but I didn't expect that there is actually the legendary chef Dai Wang who can sublimate the taste of seafood. Sun Shanwei was very embarrassed, but he sat down in his seat sincerely. So delicious. Brother Yang Yu, is this, your dumb king? Sun Shanwei couldn't help but ask. Wu Yuqian quickly explained with a smile, Yang Yu's dumb king is the star of the national competition. The ingredients are taken from the pot that was served before. The seasonings are the most common ones: oil, salt, soy sauce, and vinegar. They are simple to use, but they create an extraordinary taste in the dull pot and spatula. It would be great if we could have a chef like King Slow here in our port camp. We have a lot of seafood here, but the dishes are all cooked in big pots, which is slightly better. Just use fire to bake. Sun Shanwei felt the taste buds on his tongue trembling, and it seemed as if he was starting to protest. In the past few years, he had been eating spicy chicken. This was obviously a waste of food. Although the fish and shrimp come from the sea, they are still the same as the vegetables grown by the farmer's uncle. Compared with the dull craftsmanship, they make these things so unpalatable that some customers who are not used to it will cause waste. Is it wasteful for those who cook or for those who eat? After all, it would be great if there was a chef who knew how to cook seafood like King Dede. The trainer camp at the port is not like a big hotel, and the trainers coming and going come from all over the world. Ding! Just as Sun Shanwei was sighing while tasting, a purple light bulb lit up on his dull head. Ding ding! He even flashed twice more. Do you have any ideas? Yang Yu hugged the bowl and almost burst into tears. His mother sold batches of seafood, and the seafood that had hardly been processed before was simply challenging his bottom line. Fortunately, we are dumbfounded. Yang Yu took a small bowl and filled the little dream demon with some delicious fish. In Yang Yu's backpack, a soft and sleepy little elf slipped through the zipper hole. Come out. Fragrant. The mini dragon wants to eat delicious fish. In a corner where no one was paying attention, the mini dragon sneaked out of the backpack, poked its head out, got into Yang Yu's lap, rubbed from his arms to the edge of the table, and sniffed on the table with its big white nose. Come and sniff. Yang Yu was surprised to find the mini dragon in his arms. His eyes were dizzy with hunger. He looked a little pitiful. He quickly used his own bowl to pick up several braised small yellow croakers from a stack of hot dishes. Mum! The mini dragon put its entire head into the bowl. When the mini dragon squinted its eyes to eat the small yellow croaker, its white nose was covered with oil. Snap! The little dream monster was shocked when she saw the mini dragon eating. I was so scared that my chopsticks dropped to the ground. At the same time, Dada held the curved super spoon in his hand, and he had a particularly good idea. Over in Zhangxiang, there are many dumb hippos. The silly food kingdom. But we can't just focus on the land in Jiangdong. Start expanding outward. In this way, the hippo chefs can combine local tastes to make more delicious food with different flavors. Yeah. He dropped the spoon out of thin air, as if he had drawn his own avatar in the air. Just like the image in the Hippo Snack Street, an eye was inserted in the camp. Please vote. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Xiangxiao. Chapter 467. This is still a very ordinary morning. Apart from a little more heat and a little more chirping of cicadas, it doesn't seem to have any impact on life. The adults at work were in a hurry, and the students at school were queuing up at the stalls next to the school. The adults who wanted to buy some fresh vegetables in the morning had already returned from the vegetable market with a basket of vegetables. However, for the water transport port in Zhangxiang City, a group of unusual guests came here. Yeah, boom! A neat line of hippos were standing in an orderly manner at the ticket gate, holding tickets in their hands, waiting for the time to check in. Just outside on the railing, there were also slow hippos standing one after another. In addition to the standing slow hippos, there were also many slow beasts lying on the railings. Without exception, they were all here watching the group of hippo chefs who were preparing to leave Zhangxiang and take a boat to the south. When the red light at the ticket gate turned into green, the dumb hippo at the front of the ticket line looked at the railing to see off the chef friends. Yeah, boom. The ticket checking team turned their round heads in unison, and even the gestures of waving goodbye were almost exactly the same, extremely neat. Yeah, boom. This time we set off. I don't know how long it will take before we meet again. However, the food footprints of the Daepo chefs will be carried from Zhangxiang to the south, and they will continue to work hard forward. There is no sadness of parting, only blessings for each other. The hippo chefs all believe that as long as they have a pot and a spatula in their hands, there is no place in this world that they cannot reach. After running away for a lifetime, he still returns as a stupid chef. Yang Yu, does the last mark of the dumb king yesterday mean anything? Wu Yuqian handed Yang Yu a glass of moo milk. Thinking of what happened yesterday, he still had some questions. It's a coordinate. Yang Yu took the milk from Mu, took out the bottle he had prepared early from his backpack, gave some to the little dream demon, and then gave the rest to the little fish. Yang Yu only felt that there was a blue light suddenly coming out in front of his eyes. Mum. The mini dragon couldn't wait to put its whole head into the cup. Wu Yuqian. Yang Yu. Yang Yu, this mini dragon of yours, is made of water. Wu Yuqian couldn't help but rub his eyes, and when he was sure that he was not dazzled, he complained. Yang Yu silently looked at the mini dragon with its head stuck in the cup, as if he had seen Tom's transformation scene in Tom and Jerry. The mini dragon was even blinking in the glass bottle and looking at Yang Yu outside. There was something indescribable about its cylindrical head. Eccentric. Quite cute. The little dream monster almost dropped her milk bottle again in shock. When the mini dragon ate fish yesterday, the whole nose was covered with soup. Now, the big white nose looks like white ink. If you carry it, the tail of the mini dragon can probably be used to write white calligraphy. The mini dragon emerged from the cup, looking around, as if he didn't think there was anything strange about his behavior at all. Looking at the shocked little dream monster holding the bottle, he no more, no less, than a moment. Duo appeared on the little dream monster's face. The little dream demon stretched out its short hand to protest, but the short hand that waved like a Hot Wheel could not even touch the nose of the mini dragon. When the soft big white nose of the mini dragon left the little one and was stained with moo milk. When the dream demon's face is revealed, the little dream demon seems to have completed a face change, from a gray-black face to a white face. Ha 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 ha. Yang Yu stretched out his hand and tapped the little dream monster's nose again, and the face of a tabby cat was clearly revealed. The little dream demon, whose eyes were dull for a while, immediately bared its teeth and claws and made a strong protest towards the mini dragon. The little short hand it waved was as if it was going to have an unprecedented battle with the mini dragon. The mini dragon tilted its head, and there was great confusion in its little purple eyes. You little guy with short hands and short legs. Baring his teeth and claws. Duo. The mini dragon stamped its nose on the little dream demon's face again. Game over. Bullying you for being short-handed, no discussion. The little dream demon wanted to fight the mini dragon, but he probably couldn't beat it, so he could only point his finger at Yang Yu, who was helping the tyrants to do evil. On the back of the Salted Fish King, a fight broke out between Yang Yu and the little dream demon. A battle of ghost faces, although it doesn't have any substantial power of moves, but it's all fun. At this time, the direction of the sea breeze was the same as the direction of travel. Going with the wind, both the Salted Fish King and the small fish that had been following the Salted Fish King accelerated their progress. As the Salted Fish King accelerated, Xiao Xiao's speed did not drop at all. The little guy seemed to be holding his breath. In the previous beautiful competition, he was greatly outperformed by the Salted Fish King. This time of course you have to earn it back in one breath. Of course, Salty Fish King can feel the efforts of this little guy. Speaking of which, in the surfing experience of Salty Fish King in the big pool of the arena, the little fish did not fall even once, and even mastered the balance better than other elves. Being good is like a natural ability. Such ability surprised even the Salted Fish King. The strength of the Salted Fish King is basically stuck at the critical point between the elite level and the gym level. His own strength is outstanding, and he has a very clear feeling about the strength of an elf like Xiao Xiao. To be honest, Xiao Xiao's strength is probably not weak, especially now that the scales on his body have changed from the original earth color to shiny gold. If Xiao Xiao uses the salted fish spike, he will probably be a lot more powerful. Even the elves can't resist it. Regarding this, Salted Fish King feels a little satisfied. After all, his own move Salted Fish Stab could actually have that indomitable momentum in Xiao Xiao's hands. If it weren't for the fact that Xiao Xiao's appearance was so different from Carp King, Salted Fish King would even I thought the little fish was the kind transformed by Magi Carp with a layer of earth-colored paint. The Salted Fish King didn't know what this little thing would look like after it evolved. After all, even the Salted Fish King himself didn't know that his own evolution could actually be so awesome. In the elf world, there is no shortage of success, but what is lacking is the faith to move forward in the face of the unknown. The vast and boundless sea. Salted Fish King, I also yearn for it. Cluck K. Ka. On the calm sea, a group of square and square carp kings swam. The Magi Carp at the front is the one with the longest beard in the entire team. When the beard is raised, almost all the Magi Carp in the team can see them, and they all rest in place. From the Meteor Lake to the present, this group of Carp King squadrons faced many dangers in the unknown ocean, but during an undersea battle, they saw a scene they would never forget. Week Tench. The elves with the lowest race value in the entire elf world, when they gather together to form a terrifying fish swarm, in this sea, even the powerful giant tooth shark, dare not provoke them. The Magi Carp Kings didn't know how powerful they could be, but under the leadership of the leader, Gyarados, who had shocking wounds on his body, the Magi Carp phalanx was getting bigger and bigger. Unity is strength. The Carp King's army. With faith, head towards the unknown sea of stars and break the waves. I have been busy for a week, and when I relax, I feel tired and confused. I would like to vote for you every day. Thank you all trainers for your support. Your support is the author's motivation and belief. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, Ai Ren Huoqiang Xiao. Chapter 468. Show it on the map based on our position. In front of you is the big beach of Nanhai Island. Hey, the elves scattered here are quite good, including Lazy Man and Coconut Egg Tree. When the time comes to dock, but don't scare the tourists. When Wu Yuqian put away the azimuth instrument, he did not forget to give Yang Yu a word. Don't worry, how could I make such a mistake? King Magi Carp, where are you going? Help, 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 help. Before Yang Yu could finish his words, he suddenly saw a little kid in front of him who seemed to be riding the waves and suddenly plopped into the shallow sea in front of them and fell into the water. Error. Yang Yu's expression was extremely exciting, as if he was beeping a dog. As the saying goes, life is like chocolate, you never know what the next piece will taste like. Obviously. This is not the taste Yang Yu wants. He had already found a beach that was basically on the edge of a corner, but he still didn't expect that Yang Yu didn't take the initiative to cause trouble, but it was a bit like, trouble came to his door? When the mini dragon in Yang Yu's arms wanted to enter the water to rescue him, Dede had already taken the lead and used the superpower in his hands to fish out the miserable little furry child. Cluck, K. Just when the little girl with wet hair was safe, next to the body of the salted fish king, there was an excited carp king jumping up and down, as if looking up at Yang Yu and his party. "Thank you for saving me." The little girl wiped her face with her hands, the excitement in her voice even more than the fear of falling into the water. "Why did you come here to play by yourself? How dangerous it is." Although Yang Yu didn't know the little girl, he still had a more educational flavor. "Wow, big brother, this is a mini dragon." The little girl didn't seem to notice what Yang Yu said before. Instead, her eyes stared straight at the mini dragon wrapped in Yang Yu's arms, flickering, and the color of the waves seemed to reflect in her eyes. "Uh-huh." The mini dragon came close to the girl and looked curiously up and down for a while, then returned to Yang Yu's arms. Little sister, where are your family members?" Wu Yukin on the side asked again. "Wow. It's King Slow. King Slow. It's King Slow." When the little girl saw the Slow King with the golden conch cap, even her voice became completely shrill, and she completely forgot about her fear of falling into the water. Wu Yukin and Yang Yu looked at each other. Wu Yukin pointed to his head and glanced in the direction of the little girl. Yang Yu shrugged. "Perhaps. Could it be that your brain was flooded when you just fell into the water? Ah, there are dream demons." "Dream demons? Oh my god, what kind of elf team have I encountered? Big brother, you must be super powerful trainers." The little girl's face was filled with anticipation, and with a very childish face and such a cute and waxy voice, she looks quite cute. However, no matter how cute she is, in Yang Yu's eyes, she cannot be as cute as Yang Xiaowu. How can such a disobedient and mischievous girl be okay when she grows up? Yang Yu even felt in his heart that for the sake of his fellow boys in the future, such a cute little girl would definitely cry. "Little sister, you are so free, have you finished your homework? If your family knows that you sneaked out, will they spank you? Also, do you know that it is very dangerous for you to do this? If a scary elf appears, what if I swallow you in one bite?" Yang Yu raised his head and looked at the salted fish king. The salted fish king glanced at Yang Yu with disdain. Is he the kind of scary elf who takes a little girl in his mouth? Vulgar. Such a cute little girl must be even cuter when she cries out of fear. Wu Yukin took a breath after listening to Yang Yu's words. Junior brother Han's operations are indeed beyond the capabilities of ordinary people. To be honest, this little sister is quite cute and has a nice voice. Wu Yukin still feels very sorry for him. Yes, but junior brother Han actually. So scary. Sure enough, the little girl who was still smiling gradually lowered her expression, and in the end, she finally seemed to understand that she had done something wrong. Woo 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 woo. At this moment, King Magikarp, who had been jumping around in the sea, saw the little girl starting to cry. He immediately raised his eyes and jumped up. However, Yang Yu stretched out his hand and took it out like this. "Ah, I feel so nostalgic." Cluck, K. Carp King fell into Yang Yu's hands with a confused look on his face, trying hard to twist his tail, trying to break free from the evil Yang Yu's hands, but nothing happened. Catch Magikarp with bare hands. Oh. The salted fish king stared blankly at the scene in front of him. This scene was simply not too familiar. Not long ago, had he not suffered such a vicious hand before? So much time has passed, and Yang Yu is actually, still so skilled. The reaction just now was like an operation that has been deeply rooted in the bone marrow. Even if it has not been used for a long time, once it is taken, it is still lightning fast and accurate. Humph, you little boy, you still want to escape from my grasp? You're too young. Yang Yu looked at the Carp King in his hand with a slight sigh. No matter how hard the Carp King was, he could not escape from his grip of Hades. Ha ha ha, Feeling nostalgic like this is like reaching the pinnacle of life. Junior brother Han, you are awesome. Wu Yuqian thought that the Carp King that had just jumped was going to hit Yang Yu, but he didn't expect that Yang Yu could actually press the bottom of the box like this. The speed of his shot was just an instant. However, it was this smooth move, which was steady and steady. He caught the Magi Carp in his hands. The little dream demon cheered and applauded at the side, and even stamped his little feet excitedly. This operation was worthy of being the little dream demon's mount. Little sister, don't cry. Your family is probably looking for you now. When I dock, you can take your Magi Carp home, okay? Yang Yu handed the Carp King he was holding in his hand to the little girl in front of him. People all make mistakes. If you know your mistakes, you can correct them. This age itself is a naughty and frizzy age, and it is also the seaside. This how dangerous. Whoa. The little girl reached out tremblingly, took Magi Carp, and held Magi Carp in her arms. I just want to take Magi Carp to see the big Gyarados up close. Woohoo, Gyarados, that is the form that Magi Carp dreams about evolving into. My brother has caught one since he could walk. Just give me Magi Carp so I can play with Magi Carp. The little girl started to feel a little scared now. Although she could also swim, sometimes when people are excited, their brains would get hot and they would rush forward without obeying orders. She was also temporarily excited and saw a Tyrannosaurus carp from a distance. Dragon, she just wanted to rush over with Magi Carp to take a look, but how did she know that one of them suddenly fell over without being able to hold it steady? Glittering tears fell on Magi Carp King's body. Kalu Kalu. Yang Yu glanced at Wu Yuqian and sighed slightly. This little girl looked very similar to him back then, didn't she? When the Salted Fish King evolved, Yang Yu also got excited and went there alone with Wenren Fang Chen. Hey, this damn newborn calf is not afraid of tigers. Roar. The Salted Fish King's pupils shrank slightly. This wave of energy. What the hell? Keep asking for votes. Pokemon's Character Master. Author, AI Ren Huo Chiang Xiao. Chapter 469. Yeah. After rescuing the little girl and preparing to take a sip of hot tea, Datu suddenly paused and looked at the carp in the little girl's arms with wide eyes. When the mini dragon wanted to get closer to see what happened to the Carp King, he found that the little figure was getting bigger and bigger, bigger and taller, and taller and taller. A little bit, even the sunlight is blocked. Me. The mini dragon has never seen such a scene before. Originally, it could still look down at the Magi Carp King like little brother, what's going on, but at this moment, the picture is reversed. Mycarp. Magi Carp, what's wrong with you? The little girl felt a dazzling white light flashing all over the body of Magi Carp in her arms. Magi Carp even broke free from her arms and jumped into the blue sky. Who evolved? Wu Yuqian was speechless for a moment. Why did such seemingly unreasonable things happen so often once he followed junior brother Han? Incredible. What happened before? Why did this Magi Carp evolve inexplicably? If the elf researchers who studied the evolution of Magi Carp saw it, they would probably eat up all the original research results. This has evolved. So simple. Carp King. The little girl has stopped crying, her eyes are as bright as waves, and her eyes are full of surprise and joy. Magi Carp evolved. Xiaonan. Xiaonan. Where are you? Come back quickly. It's dangerous there. A nervous young man came quickly from the beach. Holding a support on his right hand, he staggered onto the yacht. With the help of the long-tailed monster, he quickly rushed towards Yang Yu. Brother, it has evolved. Magi Carp has evolved. Brother, the Magi Carp you caught for me on my 5th birthday has evolved. The little girl named Xiaonan shouted loudly on the back of Yang Yu's Salted Fish King, with her hands clasped to her mouth as if forming a loudspeaker, hoping to convey her voice to her brother's ears. Careful. Yang Yu's expression condensed. The evolution of the Carp King was still going on, and the waves caused by the evolution were still growing. The little girl cheering like this could easily fall into the sea again. Yeah. He stayed at the critical moment and took action again. The superpower he used ensured the stability of the little girl's figure and prevented her from falling from the back of the salted fish king into the sea. Xiaonan's brother Ni didn't have any joy. He didn't know whether the two strangers on the back of the giant Gyarados were good or bad. In his eyes, Xiaonan could be allowed to suffer even a little bit of harm. Even though his entire right leg could not be used normally, Ni still drove the yacht to the maximum speed. Xiaonan, come down quickly. Be safe and wait until Magikarp's evolution is completely over. Dream-inducing taper, go and help that yacht. Wu Yuqian saw the yacht with huge fluctuations in the waves, and immediately asked his elf to help. Salted Fish King. Control the wave. Roar. Yang Yu looked at the Gyarados that was making big winds and waves with a headache. The expression of that Gyarados was not normal now. It seemed that it had become a little manic because of the tears of the little girl named Xiaonan. Your sister. This Carp King is completely different from the Salted Fish King's Carp King army. This wild Carp King evolution is as if Yang Yu has touched the anger of the Carp King. Or the tears of Xiaonan behind. There seems to be a tendency for this Gyarados to go berserk. So. Yang Yu felt that he was really wronged. To be honest, he really didn't want to get involved in this matter, but he happened to be involved. Don't mess with the little girl who raised Magikarp. If this one day irritates Magikarp, he will evolve and go berserk in minutes to show you. Little sister, can you calm down your Gyarados? I don't really want to take action. It's angry now. It's up to you whether you can calm it down. I don't want your Gyarados to get hurt either. Yang Yu felt that his thoughts were a little mixed. Why couldn't he control his fishing hand? Damn it! King Magikarp, it's me. Look here, look here. Don't be angry, why don't we come down and play together? Xiaonan nodded thoughtfully. Although she is young, she has always known that elves and humans can be friends, just like she and Magikarp have been friends for several years, and she and Magikarp live happily by the sea. Sometimes, when Xiaonan is sad, Carp King will also cry. When Xiaonan is happy, Carp King will also be happy. Magikarp became like this because he was afraid that Xiaonan would be harmed. Therefore, this big brother is right, Xiaonan doesn't want Gyarados to get hurt. The Salted Fish King did not take the initiative, because he knew very well that the newly evolved Gyarados in front of him was no match for him. He was just confronting him, trying to calm down the Gyarados. Magikarp, come down quickly. Xiaonan, please be safe, Xiaonan. Ni supported his body and shouted loudly. Brother, it's okay. Trust me, this Gyarados is the best gift you gave me. It will definitely understand what I say. Brother, it will definitely remember us. Xiaonan once again opened her arms and waved towards the Gyarados in the air, greeting her partner with the brightest smile. It's so sweet. Wu Yuqian sighed inwardly. He remembered his past self. When he was a child, on the prairie, wasn't he just a little maley sheep, always by his side? Little guy, it's time to grow up now that you're sensible. That is the purest friendship. The friendship between humans and elves. There is no title of trainer, only the simplest two words, friend. Hulu. The ferocious-looking Gyarados in the sky fell on the bouncing little girl, his expression condensed, and his eyes full of anger began to gradually lose their ferocious color. When he saw the familiar face clearly. Hurrah, Kalu. The frozen cold atmosphere was finally dissolved in this smile as warm as the sun. After the newly promoted Gyarados calmed down, his mouth began to twitch for a while, and he didn't know what kind of messy sounds he was making. Crack, cluck, 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 cluck. The salty fish king's expression became inexplicably weird, and there seemed to be something wrong with the voice of this Gyarados. King Carp. It's me. I'm Xiao Nan, do you remember me? The little girl waved her hands excitedly. Cluck, K. The new Gyarados didn't care how strange his roar was, but in the memory he recalled, this voice was the most sincere code between him and the little girl. King Magi Carp, you can evolve into Gyarados, that's really great. Carrot carrot. Xionan stamped her feet excitedly on the salted fish king's back. When the new Gyarados approached Xiaonan little by little, Ni Wentao still looked extremely nervous. Xiaonan. Brother, look, Gyarados will not hurt us. Brother, I can protect you from now on. The new Gyarados closed his eyes gently. Satisfied, Xionan opened her arms and hugged him, hugging Gyarados' neck. Ni Wentao couldn't help but close his eyes, but he felt as if something was rubbing on his face. When he opened his eyes again, he found that the Gyarados had appeared in front of him. There was an indescribable soft color in those ferocious eyes. You. Brother, hold him up. He is the gift you brought back for me. Gyarados, recognizes you. Ni Wentao stretched out his hand tremblingly, stiffly, not daring to move. The next second, Gyarados himself came up. Yang Yu rubbed his eyes. Why did he feel so moved? Suddenly, something seemed to poke me on the shoulder. The salty fish king's beard pointed at the fish touching scene, and then pointed at himself. It seems like he is asking Yang Yu. After seeing the scene before you, don't you show off? Yang Yu looked at the huge abyss mouth of the salted fish king and was speechless for a moment. Damn it, is your size comparable to that of an ordinary Gyarados? Not to mention Yang Yu, if he stretched out his whole body, he would probably fall into the mouth of the salted fish king. Well. Having said that, who made the salted fish king Yang Yu's big treasure? When Yang Yu reached out to touch the salted fish king, he somehow felt that the salted fish king's head seemed to be getting farther and farther away. Damn it! Yang Yu's eyes widened. What greeted Yang Yu was not the head of the salted fish king, but the crystal clear sea water. The next second, I only heard a plop in the sea water, and I didn't even react. Ho 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 ho. The salted fish king swayed happily on the water. Yeah. Dede hurriedly walked over from above and poked out his big head. His eyes seemed to be asking. Why did you fall? You may not believe it, but I was tricked by a salty fish king just now. Damn it. Even if I, Yang Yu, drown, I will never surrender to the salted fish king. The salted fish king didn't care what poisonous oath Yang Yu made, he just picked Yang Yu up from the sea with two beards and threw him on his head. Let's go. Keep asking for votes.